The scientific method is just a process or steps taken to produce reliable results to answer a specific question. Maybe you think you don't use a scientific method in your life, but I can guarantee that you do. For example, imagine you wake up on a Monday, and you can't find your school note in your bag while preparing for school. That's an observation. Then you do a little research by thinking about the last time you had it. You suspect that it might be on your desk in your room from yesterday when you read. That's a hypothesis. And when you check your desk, you're doing an experiment. But science and life don't always go as planned, and you find no notebook on your desk. So the second observation leads you to think again and recall what else you did yesterday. You remember that you went to your parents' room with your book in your hand to check their shelf, so you decide it must be there, and you go and check, and lo, where it is. Life can continue, and you're so happy that you share the results with your friends and explain why you arrive at school late. These are the steps of the scientific method, and at any step you can go back and repeat the process, typically after you conduct an experiment and conclude that your results aren't answering the question. You go back and try something else. Honestly, observations and research are going on the entire time. Science is a continually ongoing process now. Let's break down each of these steps into their component parts. All that can be observed using your 5 senses, which are included in observations. You use your senses of smell, sight, taste, touch, and hearing to make your observations in science. Research is an important step in science because it may answer other questions you have and help refine your experiment before you go down a path that leads to nowhere or conduct an experiment that's already been done. Make sure you gather background information from reputable sources. The finest sources are reputable scientific publications and websites. Don't rely on information from blogs or outdated textbooks because it could not be accurate. Once your study is finished, you may formulate your hypothesis, which is a forecast of what you think will happen. It is quite detailed and frequently viewed as an if-then statement or educated guess. As an illustration, if sugar causes tooth decay, then candy eaters may be more susceptible to developing them. If and then employ certain phrases that allow for the replication of this experiment. The experiment itself is composed of many components. The dependent variable, which is the item you measure, has an independent variable that you may adjust to see how it impacts it. In order to prove that sugar promotes cavities, an experiment was conducted. The amount of sugar that is measured before and after sugar cavities is the dependent variable. A proper experiment will have a control group that may be used to contrast the experimental group and an experimental group where the independent variable is manipulated. Both an experimental group where the independent variable is changed and a control group are required for a valid experiment. People who consume a lot of sweets are placed in the experimental group in the sugar cavity study, whereas those who consume no candy are in the control group. To prevent drawing erroneous findings, control groups in experiments are created to completely remove all types of bias. To do this, just the variable under test is altered. All other variables that may have an impact on the outcome are maintained constant. Controlled experiments are what these tests are called. In conclusion, every scientific method begins with observation, which is question. An observation is followed by a hypothesis, which is an educated assumption that may be examined or confirmed by an experiment. An experiment is used to test the hypothesis. Control is made to remove any bias in order to prevent drawing misleading results. An experiment's results are compiled, and a conclusion, generalization, is drawn. If comparable findings are found when the same experiment is repeated by other scientists, the generalization is recognized as a theory. Evaluation. Enumerate the steps specified in giving an account of a scientific investigation. How is bias taken care of in a biological investigation? Thanks for watching this episode of Scientific Methods. Don't forget to hit like and share if you believe a friend could benefit from this video. Until the next time, keep watching Discover Agrobiology for more education in agriculture and biology videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye for now.